All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another regular meeting of the Communication Committee. It is April 25th, 2025. The time is 7 p.m., and this is the call to order. First thing to look at is the approval of minutes from April 11th, 2025.
I submitted the minutes. I haven't heard any corrections or amendments at this stage of the game.
There is one amendment that we heard about just today that I believe we had the ex officios as members, so that has to be adjusted.
It has to be adjusted to what, public?
Public. Yep.
And Esther is here.
Just pulled. Oh, she's online. Okay, great.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so then I will accept the motion to have the minutes as amended.
All those in favor?
All right.
Okay, excellent.
That would be five, right? There's only five voting members.
4,
Yep.
Got one?
5.
5. Yeah.
Thank you.
Esther, we should inform you that technically you are we'll still take your report, but technically you are public still. Terry says that you have to go and get sworn in at her office, at the town clerk's office. We just found out about that like an hour ago. Apparently, it's a Belchertown only bylaw. So
A Belchertown only bylaw. What?
it is a law in our town only.
Okay.
Yep.
So does that mean just I don't give a report today?
We'll still take it. But apparently, I think we'll take it as your official capacity and not as your capacity as a member of this committee.
All right.
We have this public comment section is next. We have some extra people here. If anybody has anything they want to talk about, I think we'll hit it again at the very end, just in case. It looks like we have a few folks. Okay, otherwise, I didn't get any emails or anything else from the public, so we will move past that. Education training reports from community members.
A number of us attended the AI webinar by Mass Municipal Association.
Yep.
It was good. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more, but the person presenting said she's going to be doing a second one, which might have more detail and drill down into the weeds a little bit more. But I found it worthwhile. I think it was also the most heavily attended webinar that they've done. It shows you that there's a tremendous amount of interest about AI in the municipal government. So I thought it was good, and I love what MMA puts out. So.
I will say the most interesting thing I pulled from that was that they didn't even question whether it was okay to use AI for municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
They just dove into how to use it.
Right.
Right. So there was, one way or the other, they didn't say it's good, it's bad, whatever. They did give warnings about, the capabilities of AI, but they basically just dove right into how AI is going to help you, which to me sounds like it's acceptable.
I mean, the two people presenting were cheerleaders for AI, so I think we might have to take that with a little bit of grain of salt.
For sure.
They're already on board.
I'm diving in.
Yeah. I'm sure there are other people with other opinions.
No caveats about using it for towns and government. Huh?
Not that they mentioned.
Yeah. And there have to be concerns. I mean, there have to be, they just didn't raise it.
Anything else?
Anybody else do anything?
Okay. That's fine. Nobody's required to do these. It's just in case we're letting people know.
I mean, and also the reason we're including it in the minutes is so at the end of the year, we can document what sort of training we might have gone through. So that's why we're putting it in the minutes there, just to.
Okay. Do you want to go, or should we save it to the end?
Save me to the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Esther, you're up next if you want to go, or we can save you to the end as well.
I can go next since I
Perfect.
left behind. Did you get the stats that I left behind?
Yeah.
We did.
I just wanted to
Sorry,
bring
you're
that.
over there, but the camera's over here, so.
Camera?
For the
On the
owl,
owl.
right?
Yes, yeah, you got it. So I just brought those in case anyone was wondering. They're kind of cool to look at. It's interesting. We're missing two
Yeah.
age groups,
What
though.
YouTube views?
90-day BCTV YouTube channel stats is the name.
Thank you.
What did you say you were missing?
Two age groups, fundamentally. We have 35 to 45. We have over 65, but nobody in their 45, 50, nobody in their 20s. But anyway,
Interesting.
it's just fascinating what you get, and I figure you guys can probably use it too. But we are hitting Belchertown, which is good all over. It's not like we're hitting random municipalities, because that does happen sometimes on YouTube. You don't know why people in Beijing are watching. But,
Right.
Well, aren't those age demographics and everything just based off of people that have self-reported through their profiles who they are? So you may not be missing those
Yes.
demographics. There may be people in those demographics watching that are choosing not to. Because I know I'm not in one of those captured numbers, and I definitely watch. But I also have my stuff hidden. So
okay.
I mean, it's good, it's obviously good to start catching it. Now, are you reporting this to anybody, like Steve or anybody in the town?
Nope, just
us.
bringing it to see. Yep.
I think it would be I think it'd be worth it, especially maybe not in this level of detail, but the big numbers, like, you got 4,415 views, watch time 565 hours,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think the high level stuff would be worthwhile on a periodic basis just to send around to show
Okay.
the value of what you're doing. Because I mean, I think it's great, especially how timely you are in getting stuff out. I noticed the select board meeting was out, within days, if not less, the other day.
Well, I asked you
Yeah.
that, but
The
31st
meetings are
meeting
getting
is.
the meetings
Oh.
are getting up pretty good. One of the things that I'm still working on is there's more stuff up on our Castus than there is on our YouTube right now. I want us to be able to combine the two with the FTP, but I'm not there yet. And I've been doing more YouTube experiments with. We had the channel live for a while, but when we do it that way, we can't have it immediately ready to go and replay on YouTube. So I'm playing with both Castus and YouTube have planned live automatic things that should be able to do that eventually. Figure it out to make them come up immediately. But yeah, my report. Lou probably told you he had Senator Oliveira today in the office.
Nice.
Doing a lot of good content. We got the DPW Bureau, we got Lake Wallace Phase 2, and we've been getting workshops lately, the garden workshops lately, and Ed and I were trying a new thing. He wrote a article on warrant articles, and we're trying an audio version of the article.
Nice.
That'll be watchable with hopefully a whiteboard video. It's kind of a new way. And
Because I'm not good enough to have on video, so she had to find another way to have something there besides me.
people,
It's an audio version of an article.
Okay.
Sorry, Lou is having a difficulty hearing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's a couple things. I visited Springfield's cable access station in the last couple of weeks. See what they have going on. It was super helpful. And there, hopefully we can help them to organize some regional events to get more cable managers together, which is exciting. I also went to, on Wednesday, a free event by Lenovo and Microsoft for women in tech in the public sector, which was very cool. It was a lot more talk about AI, which I also went to the municipal one that happened the last week. Yeah, it's definitely taking off right now, and there's a lot of need in the public for some guidance with it. What was really interesting is there were a lot of women from the New York Department of Education, where they make their own school app, and they do a lot of research into what is needed by students in AI. And it's interesting to hear more about what actually happens when they teach with it in the classroom, which is some people brought up. Students are really worried about deepfakes. Not everyone likes it. But yeah, I also got some advice on how some new things to use. And yeah, also there was a public speaking thing and women in tech stuff. It was great. Showed you the YouTube stats. More on Castic scheduling. Got that scheduled. It's now fixed so that it's live, at least in the spot on our website for TV schedule, and also where you can watch live now. It was supposed to show up under the video that is the live channel with what's next. Now it does again. Problem is it does require a lot of work putting in metadata for every file, so it's not perfect. But that might be worth doing, especially as you can see people were watching the live YouTube stream. So if that matched schedule too, it might make sense to have. Let's see, town meeting prep. We've been talking with Kevin a lot about how we can help with the setup that keeps changing.
Do you want to get a seat closer?
What?
I'll ask her.
Sorry, Lou he's taking notes for the as clerk.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you move up, Lou?
It's the tone. It's not clear English to me. It's slurs. It's not catching it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, grab a chair. Get a
That's
little
all right.
closer.
Just find out what's going on. Go on, Esther.
Okay. Yeah, so preparing for town meeting, mostly we have what we need already to provide the AV that we need. Our Adobe subscription came through, which is great. We're starting to learn more software in that. We've got new developments in the auditorium. We're working on finally identifying which ones are the speakers that are hitting the floor and reflecting like crazy. And those are unplugged. It was interesting too when I was at this Women in Tech event was at Madison Square Garden in a certain spot. So I actually talked to their people who were running the speeches, and I was like, "What's your setup here?" They also have speakers that hit the floor, but their floor has carpet, and there's pipe and drape all over the place. So that's kind of the difference. But yep, that's about what I got for the week.
All right, excellent.
You're doing candidates night, right? That's coming
Yes.
through in BCTV.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a candidates night.
Tuesday.
29th.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
What we were talking about that last time. What's the setup going to be on that, Lou?
Timekeeper here, moderator there, 3 candidates across where you're sitting right there, council, whatever audience in the chairs, Q&A over here, slips of paper for people to write out questions if they have.
So
What'd you
are
decide
having
about the audience?
You're having audience in here instead of the auditorium?
If there's an audience, they're in here.
How many, are you just gonna, like, if 1 million people show up, are you gonna cancel the?
No, Esther will open up the auditorium.
Okay, and they can view from in there.
And there'll just be a go-to-meeting.
Okay.
Wait. That's news to me. My thought was it's a broadcast event. It's not for the public to come necessarily. It's for the video, so we will use who fits
I mean,
in this.
that's correct. We're not denying people, the public into the room if they want to come.
Okay.
And I thought we had talked about if they get an overflow that you were going to be here to do the go-to-meeting, but I may have misunderstood, obviously.
I mean, we can. Yeah, play the go-to. It's just no one from.
So long as no one from the auditorium wants to speak into the room, which isn't part of it anyway. So
No, there's no public comment.
yeah,
I
that we can do that.
I would suggest making sure this goes flawlessly because of all the interest I think we're going to get. And,
Mhm.
Well, I can guarantee anything in this room will go flawless.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
is
I mean, if you're gonna do the go-to-meeting, first of all, is that gonna be publicized? It's getting close, if it's Tuesday night. And we may get a lot of people tuning in, and we've seen what's happened when stuff crash and burn in the past.
I would say if you're putting it on BCTV, just put it on BCTV and advertise it as such. Right?
Yeah.
Get the viewers, right?
Well, I mean, that's the information that we put out on on Facebook and in the Sentinel.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Get the viewers. Forget about. I mean, obviously, if you have overflow, if a ton of people show up, I guess set up the other room.
I
But
would be surprised.
yeah, I would just advertise it as not a public event.
Yeah.
And just say that you can watch it on YouTube or on your channel, right?
Yeah.
Watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on BCTV.
On BCTV.
On Cassis streaming, there's at least 3 options.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be live streamed on YouTube?
No, the Facebook page, at least what the Facebook page says, is watched later on YouTube.
Okay.
Is that?
We can stream it live. But
Yeah, so
yeah.
if you decide to stream it live, then just update your post from the 16th.
Well, I'd say why not?
Yeah.
Is there a reason to not stream it live on YouTube?
No.
Yeah.
It says on here that you can also submit questions to Peg, the moderator, the night of that event.
Yeah.
yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
People can do that. Okay.
but you're only going to do up to 5 questions.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a question,
Okay.
turns out to be 30 minutes worth of, that's plenty of time.
Well, I'm excited. I'll be tuning in.
So yeah, I think let's call it no go to.
Okay.
We can put up again the YouTube that cast us.
So if you decide to live stream it to YouTube, like I said, just make sure you update that post and then let me know so I can share on the town channels that
Sure.
it's being live.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I guess 2 other things, not that they're coming down the road. So on May 5th, we'll be interviewing Representative Saunders. Keeping up, we're gonna do quarterly legislative reports.
Oh, cool.
And something we did in the past and just, and like everything else in the world, slipped, now we're back. And town meeting's not till May 31st, so I'm gonna assume that we'll do the warrants mid-May as opposed to any earlier than that.
Esther, are you done on your side? I have a question, at least I want to toss your
Yes.
way. Okay. I heard potentially that you guys are looking for volunteers. Is that something that we should get out, help you out with, spread the word, or is that totally made up and and I should keep my mouth shut?
I mean, if someone's really eager to come join us, they can. But I'm not set up for any sort of structured internships right now. Just kind of getting settled still. But
Right.
again, I would not turn away someone who's eager to come to help. They definitely.
All right, good to know. All right. Oops, it's the wrong area.
Hybrid?
Yeah, hybrid meeting rules. Did you have that on there, or is that leftover? You know what?
No, we have, has anybody heard anything? I mean, it passed state legislators, it's, the governor signed it, but we're waiting for what it is going to be.
My understanding was that it was a continuation of the same rules for another 2 years.
Right, but I had heard too that they were gonna come down with stuff more definitive as to what can and can't be done. I might be wrong, but that's what more definitive rules and regulations to accompany it, you know?
Do you have a concern that you're,
No, I don't, no, that's just what I had heard.
okay.
There's supposed to be something more coming out to give us guidance on what to do. I mean, I'll follow up with Terry if you want and ask her
Sure,
if there's anything,
sure.
or if not, just keep on, you know?
I think, yeah. I haven't heard anything, and this committee, branding committee, we're virtual, so.
Okay, I'll just check with Terry to make sure then.
Okay. Communication plan. I did not get that out to Steve. Now that I'm thinking about it, I sent a lot of emails to him, but I never sent that to Steve or Lisa Stahl or Kevin. So that one is on me. Anybody have any other updates? Okay.
And I think that might be a lot, like a lot of stuff, that might be backburnered until
Yeah.
May 31st, I would imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right, that one is on me. Sorry, everyone. I will send email.
Well, you get a pass.
Make it bigger letters. Send email. Town social media. How's that going?
It's going.
I don't know how to put that emphasis in.
It's ... going.
So congratulations to Ed. As of this past week, your article on the Saver Grants for the firefighters has surpassed any of the other Proposition 2.5 or anything else on the website
Oh,
so
wow.
far. So congratulations.
Oh, cool.
You've had 7.6 thousand views.
Holy cow. Wow.
Yep.
All right.
And 189 likes. So
It's like 7,600?
yeah, 7,600.
Okay.
7.6K.
Got it.
My reading brain and my talking brain
Okay.
weren't doing the same
fantastic.
thing.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So congratulations. I think
thank
that's awesome, and I love how everyone's engaging with that.
Have
Overall,
there been comments posted up?
there's been 10 comments so far and 18 shares, and all the
Okay.
comments have been positive.
Okay, cool. And I mean, and obviously it's not me, it's the content that's driving that. So obviously that's an issue that resonates with people out there. You know?
But it's important that you saw it and you took the time to address it.
Well, actually, that came from the chief, because the chief approached me on, okay, what can I do to help, facilitate all this? And we had a long discussion on various strategies, one of which was putting out information like this in advance of the annual meeting,
Mhm.
so that it's not all of a sudden presented on the floor, which is a strategy that we're obviously trying to encourage other departments. Like I just had a conversation with Linda Leduc yesterday at DVW, the same sort of thing. She presented at the select board meeting Tuesday night on the new fee structure for the transfer station. Bags are going up, all that sort of stuff. So I'm writing an article for her, because I learned a lot that night about what the transfer station does that I didn't know,
They have murals.
besides murals. So, I'd like to really encourage any other department in town that if they want to get ahead of something, let me know. Be glad to work with them in helping to get this out.
Mhm.
And that can be a great role model right there, where you're just telling us as
Yeah.
to the value of doing something like that.
Absolutely. So the top 5 posts, 3 of them were on Prop 2.5, the upcoming meetings.
Mhm.
Then your post, and then the other one that was also in the top 5 was the call from the scholarship committee that I had put out for them with their text about the scholarships for the graduating seniors this year.
Okay, good.
That one
Excellent.
also had huge reach, so very exciting. The Facebook page, I have not been able to post as consistently as I had in the past in the last 2 weeks. And it shows our numbers are down by 11%. So hopefully,
You've been busy.
Yeah.
hopefully things turn around and that gets busy. But and Emily had sent me her stuff too, because she couldn't be here for the meeting tonight. But in her insights for the rec Facebook page, over 30 days, they're up 90%. They've had 40.2K. See, I put all my numbers the right way for you that time, Lou. Views in the last month. And then she also shared with me about the Instagram stuff. So they're up to 98 followers on Instagram, and that was of Wednesday. She had reached out to Rec to see if the programs that she was really pushing on their behalf, things that they were asking her to do, if that was turning around to registrations. But their system was down at the time, so they weren't able to tell her. So hopefully we'll have that kind of insight going forward.
Any additional questions, comments for social media? Okay. Town newsletter.
So just to let Lou know, I'll send this to everyone after the meeting. We have like a Google Doc with basically the notes that we'll share in the meeting. So I'll give them to you, Lou.
Okay.
So you'll have most of what I say. So we just took a few notes on where we're at. So I'll run through them, and there's a few questions too that we have at this point. Everything's going well. We have 119 subscribers as of today. People are hearing about it all different sorts of ways. A lot of people are giving their information when they sign up. Most people are. And so a few people have signed up because they saw the electronic signboard on 202, which is cool. Facebook obviously is a big one. The town website is a big one. I put some flyers around town, so those are being seen by some people. And the best response so far, that somebody on this committee knows this person, they wrote, "My husband made me do this." You know who you are.
That was good.
That was my favorite. So, and in terms of promoting it, we did just on
Me as well.
Wednesday,
I know it was me.
we sent a short article to the Sentinel with the QR code. So hopefully next week, if it gets published next week, I think a lot more people will sign up through seeing it in the Sentinel, hopefully. We have some quarterly flyers that we posted to, I posted them to bulletin boards at the police department and the recreation department. And then I also posted and left some for distribution at the library and the senior center. I was gonna ask you, but I think I could just wander around this building. Is it okay if I just put it on bulletin boards in this building? I don't know if I need, like,
Yeah,
permission.
absolutely.
There's two places you can do it. One is in the lobby downstairs,
Okay.
and the other one's upstairs on the second floor. There's a bulletin board up there
Okay.
as well.
Do we have anything on BCTV?
We do. Esther, I think that you got the slide for BCTV.
Cool.
Yep. That's in the rotation.
Awesome.
I also I did the rec summer brochures, and I put QR codes for all our different things we want people to sign up for on the back of it, including the newsletter.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
Nice. Another place you can do it, it would be Christopher Heights.
Yes, I thought Christopher Heights. Yeah, that's a good idea.
They do all that, just drop it off the desk and they do that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And also, if you send around a notice to the churches, they'll put it in their Sunday bulletins.
Okay. Are there any other town buildings that you could think of that would be useful to have it posted or a stack left? I couldn't really think of any that get a lot of traffic.
I know business-wise, which I know wasn't your question, like you can post them at Crispy's and Starbucks, Stop
Okay.
and Shop.
And they have places where it's okay to do that?
Yep.
Okay.
I know, like Crispy's doesn't have a bulletin board, but if you ask, they'll let you like hang stuff on their doors.
Oh, neat. Okay.
And so to like that end, like if you and or Emily or anyone else is up for walking around visiting local businesses,
Mhm.
I think the new Tables on the Green has a bulletin board too.
Okay.
Okay.
La Trattoria has a bulletin right inside their door as well.
Oh,
Yep.
Can we put stuff in the town tax bills? I mean, it's maybe not the best association, but
We
a bill goes out to
can,
everybody.
and it's on my list of to-dos to put all those QR codes that I did for the
That's what, yeah.
thing right into the next tax bill, hopefully.
Okay, good.
Did you say you already got the rec department?
Yeah.
Oh, what about the Veterans Office?
Yeah, I haven't done that, so that's a good idea.
How about town employees?
Have we gotten them to sign up?
I mean, has anything gone out to town employees?
No, we could send one to all 10 employees and then forward a message to the schools and ask them to pass it on to their employees as well.
Yep.
Okay.
I can do that for you.
That'd be great, yeah.
I'm gonna do that now before I forget.
So in terms of outreach, Emily and I have reached out to just about 50 groups, 32 committees, 12 community groups, and 6 departments that we wanted to give special outreach to, though all the departments were hit through Steve and Kate's emails. And we got just lots of enthusiastic responses. And I did have a question for Kate, which is the department heads email. Does that go to the select board?
No.
Okay, so we never reached out to the select board. So we will reach out to the select board. Oops. For some reason, I was thinking of them as a department, I think because of the website. Okay. And then we are assembling the first issue. Today was the deadline to definitely get an article in the first issue or announcement in the first issue. But we'll keep looking to see if anything comes in the next few days. We have 16 so far. So yeah, and people are really excited. You know, it's a number of departments are using it, but also a few organizations from the community. And I had a few questions here about this. So one is that I know Steve was out this week, the last few days, but I was hoping to see if he wanted to do a town manager's welcome, I could maybe talk to him for a few minutes and then write it.
Yeah, we never had a chance to take his picture. We talked about it at least 6 times. Something that can happen at the same time too. A rumor has it he's kind of open on Monday, but now that I've said that in a public forum, he probably won't.
If he's not available, we can do like a generic communication committee welcome.
Yeah.
Because we've done the work, and if you want to write that, or I can write it or whatever, or our local writer can write it.
Or you could write something up for Steve.
Yeah, well, I was thinking if I could just 5 minutes with Steve, he could tell me a few things and then I can write it up for him.
Yeah.
So some combination of those things we can figure out early next week, Monday or Tuesday would be great.
Cool.
And one thing that we've noted that we want to make sure we include, you know, we're not going to get every department every time to submit, but it seems important to get the town clerk updates. I haven't received anything from Terry yet. We had reached out to her special to let her know that we are happy to go and get the stuff that's already on the website, on the town clerk's website. But if she wanted to like direct us to what to put in, that would be good. So if she doesn't submit anything, I think we will just assemble the content and send it to her and say, we're going to include this. I don't know if there's a better way to go about this or what.
I would actually be cautious amongst that, because Terry is very protective of her information. And if she finds that you've posted her information in a place that she didn't authorize, she will be pretty upset about it.
So do you think it's okay if the newsletter goes out with no mention of the election this month?
No, I think it should have something in there about it. I mean, that's the big hot topic right now. It's going to definitely draw somebody in.
Yeah,
there.
or the annual meeting wasn't in the.
No.
I think maybe you could reach out to Terry one more time and let her know that if she doesn't respond by such and such a date, then you're going to, you know, use information that you found on the website and we'll be putting something together. I think that's fair.
I would just say,
I would just skip it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Because it would get us in trouble.
But it's public knowledge what's on the website. And what if she just copied and pasted information that was on the website about the election?
I posted, before you came on board, I posted stuff that was on the website about the election and got my hand slapped pretty severely for it. That she said, no, it only comes out of her office.
Where did you post it?
On Facebook. So I would agree with Chris on this one. Offer her the chance and tell her that if she doesn't, nothing's going to be in it.
You could also, if you get 5 minutes with Steve on Monday, tell him.
Yeah.
Push Steve.
Because if anybody's going to get it done for you, it'll be him.
Okay, yeah, that's just wondering that. Okay.
Now, would you want to repurpose any of the articles? Not pushing my own, but any of the articles that we've had on the website, would you want to repurpose them in the news?
Let me get back to that at the end. Actually, it might be just now, but that was something I was going to ask about.
I would say a good in between would be to just say, don't forget, like something quick that's just like, don't forget the election is on this date. Go to this website for more information. Point them to Terry's page.
So you think that's okay?
Like that would be.
If I don't get the go ahead from Terry, I could say, don't forget elections this date, town meetings this date, find more information on the town clerk's website.
I think that would be as far as I would want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's good, because I do want, like, it would be, I think it would be weird if that wasn't in.
Well, I mean, I agree. There should be something in there on it, absolutely.
Okay, so noted all those things. Thank you very much for all that, input on how to deal with that. And then, okay, so to Ed's idea, I was thinking that we could have some sort of section, maybe called like "In Case You Missed It" or something like that, that points to recent blog posts or news pieces. So there's at least a couple from April, and just link to them.
Good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
So we'll do that. And then just a reminder that if BCTV or the communication committee, I mean, I guess we don't need it if we're gonna like write a welcome, but if we have any updates, you could send them to me. I don't know, branding might still, do you have
get something from
Let me
branding?
get you something for branding.
No, not yet. from
Okay.
branding,
Okay.
so-
Yeah. I
I'll
think-
show you something tonight.
Okay, or, I mean, it can come later, don't worry about it.
Is there anything in there on BCTV, the YouTube channel, all that sort of stuff?
No,
I think that'd be a worthwhile blurb, Esther, to have at least a paragraph about what you're doing, what's on there. You're posting the meetings with chapters. Like at least a paragraph.
Well, we have
That makes sense. Yeah.
16 submissions too,
yeah.
so we're not hurting.
No,
yeah.
it's, and, we can do it the next month too, but Esther, if you send it, anytime by early next week, we can include it, so.
And those
Early
submissions,
next week. So is there a monthly date that I missed that is the deadline?
We had said by the 25th, the issue's gonna go out on the 1st, but we'll still look for one to come in before the 1st. It's just, if we get them by the 25th, we'll definitely be able to include them.
Okay.
Great.
those submissions you're getting, are they print-ready or do you have to play with them? And
We have been playing with them. I've been doing it this month. I'm developing a process for it and seeing how much it takes. They're mostly ready, but one big thing that we are doing that I think is really helpful is adding links to things that are mentioned.
yes,
And so,
Yep.
and some slight editing or revisions, one or two have needed a little bit more wording changes to be more clear. And then we've sent them back to the people to let them know we're going to run this. And people have been really happy with that. So that's been good.
okay, good.
Just an idea then for one thing that I thought of, I was going to run this by Emily, but I didn't have a chance to connect with her on this yet. And I wanted to know if you think this is an okay idea. So there's two ideas here. So I was wondering about using our current subscribers to help get more subscribers. So I was thinking each month we could say, if you signed up in the last month, can you forward this to two people who might, also be interested in subscribing? And then I was also wondering about asking people if they want to help distribute flyers on their block, they can contact us. And we could just they can tell us their address, we can leave a few in their mailbox and they could put them on their block.
Flyer, you mean, notice that this newsletter exists?
Yeah, like letting people, like the little flyer just advertising it.
I think if they're gonna hand them out to people on their block without going and knocking, being like, hey, do you want one? Then they have to get a solicitor's license or something to do that.
Oh, like put it in mailboxes?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, not putting them in mailboxes, that's totally against federal law. But like to put them hang them in the door hangers or something like that, you have to ask for permission to go door to door to do things unless you're just handing them out to your friends at a barbecue.
Okay, I didn't know if
You better off asking to send the email link to friends who might be interested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, we'll stick with
Yep.
that. That's simple. I was also wondering about what if it's kids and then they're walking down the block by themselves? I didn't want to.
And plus too, we're
Disasters in that.
we're a rural town, so
Yeah,
we don't have a block to walk down
true.
in most places,
Yeah.
most of the town.
Okay, thank you for
Yeah.
that. So that's most of the updates on what's happened so far. And then just looking ahead, there's a couple important things that we're gonna do next month. One, Chris, I never responded to your email, but we're changing the submission form from a Google form to a form that's hosted on the Civic Plus website, which is actually better because you can submit images directly through that form, which you can't on the Google form. So we will shift over to that and let people know. So I still need to look over that again, but we'll do that for next month. And then the other major important thing, haven't had to need something like this yet, but for the future would be good to have, is having very clear policies on what we do and do not publish. And so I did some light research so far into town newsletters in other towns. and their policies around them. So I'll do more of that with Emily, more run it by all of you and then town council. But we want to make sure that we're not like getting into trouble with like First Amendment law or things that I think, there's a question about, religious material or political material and stuff like that. Also, one thing I thought of, and I think this has been in some of the policies, is specifying that you need to be local in some way to submit. You either live here or the organization is based here, or it's like an area organization with members in Belchertown to prevent I don't know, other content coming in.
Anything coming in, yeah.
What about an employee? Somebody who.
Yeah, and that would be fine too. Yeah, some local connection, yeah, absolutely. So those are things that are we'll be figuring out pretty soon.
Well, you mean, sorry, just for clarification, as like an employee posting for a group that they're associated with to the newsletter?
Well, yes, but I live in Amherst, but I work in Belchertown. Am I eligible?
Gotcha. Well, eligible to write into it for
Yes.
through your department or for, gotcha. Yeah.
But I mean, if you wanted to put something from Amherst in our newsletter that, it's an Amherst only thing, that wouldn't be appropriate just because you're at the Belchertown.
No, that's why I said that individual works in Belchertown.
Right.
So we're talking about, business in Belchertown.
Oh, you mean, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant was a town employee was what I was thinking.
No.
That's where I went. as
That's
well.
what I was thinking too, okay.
Yeah,
The clarification,
I didn't say
yeah.
that, sorry.
yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, so yeah, if they have a business in Belchertown and they want to, we should figure out about all that stuff. Yes, I think that is going to be super helpful. We've spoke a little bit about this offline, or well, online, I guess, but off meeting. Yeah, I think especially with like a lot of the other social posting and stuff like that rules floating around, like we should definitely lock down the rules on this sooner than later.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to talk to Kevin about ensuring that they're being archived?
No, I haven't talked to Kevin about it. We had an idea to archive issues on the page, on the newsletter.
Yeah, so I think like if you get them on because once you send it with Constant Contact, you automatically get your link.
Mhm.
So I think if you're able to link it onto the website right away, you should be okay, but double check that with Kevin. Because we want to make sure that they're being archived.
What would be the reason for not being able to do that?
For what?
For not being able to put them on the website?
Just in case, like, for whatever reason, like, Constant Contact's only going to keep that link live for 5 or 10 years, and to make sure
I see.
he's getting all the content. Like I said, I would just double check with him to make sure he's able to get what he needs
Okay.
to be in compliance with that.
I think his is only 2 years, so.
What's only 3 years?
I believe it's 2 years for keeping anything archived, and after that, don't entirely quote me on it, but I believe she said 5 years. I think it's closer to 2. But I know just to keep it archived
For the town or Constant Contact?
for the town.
Okay.
Yeah. So the town has to keep a record of everything for at least a short period of time,
Okay.
though it is more than a year. Although after that point, they are advised to absolutely delete whatever is there. So if you want to keep an older record of things or whatever, maybe we keep our own.
Okay.
But yeah, let's figure out what Kevin needs. Yeah.
And then I guess one thing I didn't say, but right now when you sign up, you get the welcome email, the welcome issue. And then on May 1st, everyone who's currently signed up is going to get the issue that comes out on May 1st. I'm going to look and see people who sign up after May 1st, but before June 1st. I think we could also send them the May 1st issue automatically through Constant Contact. They might have missed some of the events that we talk about in the issue because they come early in the month, but might still be
You
useful
should be
send
able
them.
to.
Yeah. So we'll plan to do that.
Excellent. Are we putting issue numbers anywhere on them? Should we?
We
I don't know.
I put-
Dates are at least fine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
May issue, yeah.
Do we get a sneak peek in this meeting?
Nope, it's not there yet. But I can send one around over email.
You know, I had to ask. I'm super
Yeah.
curious. I'm so excited about this. It's ridiculous.
I'd be curious. Yeah, this is
Okay.
huge.
Well, I will share it. I'll share a link to it before it goes out, and if you want to look it over and tell me what it needs, you can.
Okay.
And when we respond, only respond to her, not to the group.
Yeah.
That way we're not working as a committee.
All right, cool. Any other questions, comments, feedback?
Good job.
Yeah, you sure send me that Google Doc.
I will.
Otherwise, you get no notes.
All right, branding updates. So, survey is
Closed.
officially. So the survey is closed. I don't know how many responses we have. Last I knew, it was like 147.
Well, that's
Um,
more than I heard. I heard 121.
Maybe it's down to, maybe it's still 141. Anyway, it's only less than 200, which is not great. Especially out of 15,000 people in town. So, but it's what we have. We only have a short time to get things moving. Technically the Amesbury group went without public input. They just designed it and said, this is it, here you go. Some people liked it, some people didn't. So we're rolling the same way, sort of. We were hoping for a lot more people, but it is what it is.
And to that end too, I did talk to Nicole Miner on the select board about it for quite a while. And she was like, you guys have like done practically everything aside from like go door to door and ask people to do the survey that you possibly could. And she doesn't think that's the select board would fault us for the low number of surveys based on the amount of attention and time we spent trying to get survey results.
Yeah.
So.
Otherwise, it's going well. We're into the design phase. So let me step back quick. The town seal, there has already been multiple back and forths between our designer and our town clerk, trying to match kind of perfectly the town seal, which is difficult to do because the official town seal is, again, a piece of paper. And so she's trying to determine like how detailed they have to get. Do they try to, work with any kind of coloring, stuff like that. And like, even they're noticing that certain things like the steeple on the church is like kind of crooked.
Yeah.
So like, they're like, do we correct it or do we have to stay as accurate to that as possible? So there's a lot of questions to Terry on what is she going to approve, right? Because at the end of the day, Terry has to give the thumbs up or not. So, but like, the instructions are you have to keep it as spot on as possible. So we'll get there. The design itself, we haven't seen anything yet, but we've seen.
Just on the logo, the design.
Now we're onto the logo.
Thank you.
Yep, sorry. So that was the seal. This is the logo, very separate. So the logo, we did the vibe check with town. Let's figure out where we're at. It's sort of across the board between nature, agriculture, and community. There was like no apparent winner. Some of the big words with the town common was a big one. Quabbin was another one. Nature just being another one. So it'll be very much in that realm, which is kind of where we all expected it to be.
So I sent those final numbers, looking at the different visions and stuff over to them earlier this week. They needed them on Wednesday.
Okay.
So, we had remember the boards with the dots on it, and people got to vote on which one they liked the best. So board number 2 came out as a clear winner.
Oh, it did.
It
Okay.
did.
So I haven't seen these.
Yeah, most people haven't.
What was board number 2?
So board number 2 was the one that was more of like the country life, if you will, and nature aspects and stuff like that. Board number 3 was like more of a suburbia, if you will, and then board number 1 was like more of old timey family. Whereas number 2 was more of an agriculture, nature kind of vibe to it.
Okay, cool. We haven't seen that yet, so
No.
hearing it here first. So the next thing we did is we're meeting next week. We have all reviewed multiple logos from towns around the area. A lot of the towns just have their town seal with like the name next to it. Like Sunderland is just Town of Sunderland with the seal. Deerfield is something very similar. North Adams has a great one. In my opinion, we're at the point of opinions, right, from the members of the committee. They have more of a bolder colors. They have a hexagon in the middle with elements in it. It's just something that is, in my opinion, more fresh. But that's what we're doing right now is we're just looking at local and regional sort of logos and stuff around the area. As far as Boston, I looked at one from Kansas. We have like a list of like interesting logos that we're just going through. So we're collecting that feedback right now. Our project manager is getting all that, handing it over to the designer. We're going to discuss sort of which were the top ones, the look and feel that we all as a committee like, and then we'll make decisions from there. And hopefully we can get to some cool designs pretty soon. That's what we're all
We're really running out of time, guys.
Yes, we are. We're stepping it up to meeting every week. Yeah. Yep.
And then the first round of logos that we're going to see are going to be done in black and white. So that way we're not nitpicking over colors and stuff like that. So that's going to be like the first round of what we see is going to be the black and white. So I think it's important to note that that's what's going through.
The look, the feel, the images.
Yeah.
Save colors for later.
And so basically, if the committee all agrees on something, you go forward with that.
Yes, we will.
Is that where
Yep.
we are?
Yep.
Yep.
So I think in the end, we will probably try to come up with, I think the idea is to try to come up with like 2 designs that we really like, try to spam the community as much as possible and say, what are we liking? That's sort of the idea is just like get a very quick first glance. What does everybody like? And then take those 2 results, present them to the select board and say, this is the one that everybody liked. This is the one that everybody hated or whatever. Or this is the one that got more likes than hates, and present it to them, and the select board chooses in the end, right? Or it's up to them to final stamp of approval.
Do you think there'd be any words with the logo? Or do you think it's just going to be a graphic?
So that was
They're
something I asked actually, was saying, what are we doing here? Because you have 3 different types of logos you can have. Like you can have a graphic only one, you can have a word only one, or you can have one that's a combination of both.
Right.
And we hadn't crossed that bridge yet. And when I sent my feedback in, that was one of my first questions was, which way are we going here? And this is what my preference is.
Yep. Yeah, so we haven't technically come to the solution on that one.
Okay, so all 3 are still possible.
All 3 are still possible. I submitted a whole list of slogans from GPT as well that we could pop in there.
If it makes you feel any better, I went and found ones that I liked and sent those instead.
What do you mean? Oh. You went up to my list?
I didn't, I liked the North Adams one, and then there were some that I was like meh about, but the rest I like really hated. So I was like, I'm going to do more research and send her stuff I personally like.
Oh, you looked for more
Yes.
logos that you liked. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yours are in the trash.
Yeah. Well, funny is they
Typical
gave us like a page with a bunch of different logos, and I realized that like half of them were the logos that I submitted earlier when they were asking for logos to like submit, and then they were like, oh, never mind, but I had already submitted mine. So you guys picked from my choices anyway. So, but that's where we're at. So, it's finally hitting that development stage, the design stage rather. Which is going to be the very, very exciting stuff. Questions and concerns? Anything else? No, we're flying, guys. This is great. We might get out of here.
Jinx us.
Yeah, you're gonna take forever. Wayfinding updates. Nothing. Excellent. Moving on. Belchertown.org. Is there anything we need to talk about?
We now own Belchertown.gov. It's official.
Hey, that's a big update.
That is a big update.
So does that mean we'll be able to use both for a while, or will we not use .gov?
Kevin mentioned it to me in passing. We've had a lot of IT issues internally this week, so the fact that we own it, yay.
Oh.
But like, it's not like a focus.
So we have that officially, we're just not utilizing it.
Correct.
It's been granted. Yeah.
Okay.
Presumably, for at least like the first year, .org links should go to .gov.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think his plan is to like roll out email first, but I'm not 100% on board with that until we have the website going up under .gov, because a lot of people like look at an email address and assume that the tail end is the website.
That is very smart.
So
Yep.
it's a conversation that we still need to have.
Emails are good.
Okay, any other?
I have an interjection to go back to the newsletter just to say that Terry just sent me a really nice email with the election information, so we have it from her.
Excellent, great.
Yay!
Thank you,
Thank you, Terry.
Terry.
So is she listening?
I don't know. She didn't indicate
Is that
that.
Leslie?
Answer is yes.
But thank you, Terry. I'll email her later, so we
Yeah.
have that.
The realtor's gone.
Yeah, the Northeast Capitol. That's weird. All right, moving on, Prop 2.5 update. Trying to remember, was
Who's
that,
looking at me?
I'm not looking at me.
do we wanna, okay. So this is something that we should, multiple members of the committee have been involved in, so we probably bring it out to the light. There, just for full transparency and everything. So there is a page, /override, belchertown.org/override on the site that has,
Website.
Our website.
on our website, yeah, belchertown.org.
Okay.
That was put together with, by Kate and Steve's office. There was a message that got posted on there from Steve that was posted by Kate that was, it was basically like, the title was like, this is why we need Prop 2.5.
Something like that, yeah.
Something along those lines. It was an opinion piece from Steve, which ruffled a lot of feathers on social media. And there was like multiple calls to their office saying that it needed to come down, that it was illegal. They got a lot of complaints into the Fidelity House. They ended up, well, Kate, you ended up taking it down per Steve's request. They called me to get my opinion
I didn't
on
take it down till we talked.
Right. That's correct. We talked. I advised that we're allowed to put opinion pieces up from the town officials.
As long as the
website.
opinion piece is within their official capacity. So like, we couldn't put up an opinion piece from the library saying support Prop 2.5 because the library doesn't have a stake in the Prop 2.5.
Right.
Just to clarify who's allowed to make these statements. So the fire chief can say something, Steve can say something, Brian Cameron can say something.
Right. So it was my opinion to leave it up, put a disclaimer up there that it's going to legal review, but it was to stay up, right? The decision was made to take it down by Steve, so it was taken down. That fueled social media even further, that, oh, it's missing now. They took it down. Lots of calls for the individual who posted it to be fired and run out of town, basically, which
We didn't have the budget to do that. So.
that's being approved at town meeting. Yeah, and so it has, I mean,
And mind you, like the information, like Steve reviewed it and it was reviewed by select board members before it went up. So it wasn't just something that I unilaterally put up and said, this is from Steve's office. Like Steve saw it ahead of time, select board members saw it ahead of time. It was
Right.
approved by at least 3 people before it went up. So there was never me saying, I'm just gonna put this up and let's see what happens.
right.
That seems to have been what the community thought. Huh?
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. So it is since gone through town council.
Yeah.
Who said it's fine, but Steve should have put his signature on it, which he didn't originally.
And that we should lighten up a little bit of the rhetoric.
Right. It went through ethics, state ethics, which essentially said the same thing. Put your name on it, put it back up, maybe loosen up on the, like, there's a lot of, I saw some of the stuff and it was all like, I wouldn't have said that, but, you're allowed.
It wasn't earth shattering.
Right. Ed and I got involved in our opinion, with our opinions on it.
It went to the Office of Campaign Finance as well.
Went to the Office of Campaign Finance, but before that, Ed and I got involved and said, listen, it needs to go back up. This is, from not as a capacity of the communication committee, but in the capacity of two individuals who, we are the chair and the vice chair, but we put this up as people who are knowledgeable about these things and as personal people, not dragging the rest of you into it. Said it should go back up. I don't think it's back up. I think the decision was made to keep it down.
Yes, the decision was made to keep it down. So this week at their select board meeting, which was held on Tuesday because of the Monday holiday, there was a line item on their agenda 5H, which allowed the select board to deliberate and discuss appointing the chair and the vice chair to review and approve all Prop 2.5 materials before they go out. Wednesday, as Steve was getting ready to leave for vacation, he had forwarded me Lisa's original message about how she wanted the wording to be. But the understanding that I had from that select board meeting, and did not have a chance to fully talk about it with Steve, because we only overlap by like 10 minutes in the office, was that I would write it. He then has to approve it, and if he's okay with it, then he can forward it to Lisa and Ed.
And that's Ed Bosher.
And
And it's Ed Bosher, correct.
So this is a new piece then, you're gonna,
Yeah, so
Anything going forward, coming out of the
Yeah,
Kennedy House.
so then Lisa had like Steve had forwarded me what Lisa wrote and was like, can you put this up? And there was a couple notes in there asking Ed Bosher to approve it, and he hadn't yet. So I was like, this is the perfect time for me to rewrite this piece as one clean, because the copy that was being forwarded around had been marked up by council as well too. And it was just an ugly mess. So I took the time this afternoon to, update it. It's been signed as coming from the office of the town manager and approved by the Belchertown Select Board. It's waiting for Steve when he comes in Monday morning.
So it's there just waiting.
Yep, so hopefully he has a chance to review it, and, I can make the corrections quickly and then get those over to him, because pending that too is, I'm not gonna put any graphics together or video together to go with the messaging, which we're not calling messaging anymore, we're calling it facts and information. So I'm not putting anything together to go with the information being dispersed until it's been approved previously. Because I don't want to put the time into making an infographic and have them tell me they don't like a particular word. And then I have to go and find it in 5 different places.
Okay, now, that new process that was voted on at select board meeting Tuesday night, that was initiated at advice of council, right? Didn't council make that recommendation?
Council had said that, so it came through that council made that recommendation, and Steve had asked council Greg to put the language together on it, because Steve was getting pressure of people self-appointing themselves to police him.
Right.
Without the full select board power to it.
Yeah, but I think it's important people know that was the genesis of that. That's why that came about
Yes,
in
yeah.
the first place.
Yeah, so
It's on
council
advice-
helped
advice
put
of
wording together
council,
for
yeah.
that, yes.
So I bring it up to the committee because I think it's a very interesting case around communications in the town, and that we essentially have a department, the Finnerty House, is now running all of their information through 2 members of the select board that have been elected to review and approve all of the communications, only on Prop 2.5.
Only on Prop 2.5.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Going forward, which is a very interesting situation. And technically it is allowed, because they are elected officials, they are the select board, they have the essentially they can approve themselves to have the oversight to do it. So this is by the books, as we said, the legal counsel approved this. But it's just a very, very strange case, something that I think we should all be aware of that can happen with any of the communications in town. That like, at the end of the day, the select board has sort of that like end all decision on it, but they have to approve themselves to have the end all decision on it.
Are you feeling like you're being editorialized or?
I don't know. It's.
Well, I mean, it's set a precedent is what it's done.
Yes.
Is it a good precedent or not is the real question,
It takes the heat, if you will, off of Kate.
No, it doesn't, because never once did anyone say publicly in that meeting that I didn't do unilaterally what I was being made out to have done.
Yeah. That is a second subject of this, but yes, they basically said that this individual is new and didn't know what she was doing, and they threw her under the bus, in my opinion, as a member
Lou?
who's sitting there.
Okay.
Could you grab the extension mic and put it on your table? I haven't been able to hear you well.
Sure.
The little,
There you go.
Little-
It's vice versa.
sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. How's this?
Perfect, yeah.
You can slide that all if you need to.
Yep, that's it. Just stick it on your
so it's
Okay. So it's censorship, or is it a
Well, I wouldn't interpret it as censorship in this case because Ed and Lisa are so diametrically opposite from each other that, they have two very different views
of the world? Okay.
that have to come together in consensus on this. But I think we're putting words in, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sets a precedent that we have to be careful of on other issues going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like it had come down to the fact where like when Steve and I were reviewing things before the Tuesday decision, where I was being asked to remove single words because they felt like the word restore was too subjective.
So that's sort of it. I wanted to bring it out to the committee, let them know again that three of us were involved in things going on. This all happened between our last meeting and this one, so it was just that we couldn't report previous to this. And to answer any questions that you might have. And to that point, Mark, take it away.
So, first question, in the final that will go out, were there opinions or was it simply facts? I'm having some trouble distinguishing between the two.
So you can request a copy of the article to review it. It's obviously public record. It is off the website right now, and it wasn't archived within the Wayback Time Machine or Social Archive or anything like that to see it. But there was some opinion in there because people that are in appointed policy-making positions, and that's the key phrase there, appointed policy-making positions, they are allowed to share their opinion on election issues if they directly influence their area of policymaking.
All right. So I don't understand then how Lisa and Ed resolved their differences, which are somewhat
So
all opposite.
it wasn't Lisa and Ed that had reviewed the first copy of it.
Uh-huh.
It was Ed and Jen.
I see.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that they have the same views either.
Mhm.
Like when I had presented it to them, because I only wanted to send it to, I wrote the piece and I knew like it needed approval first. Like I was not putting this out without anybody approving it.
Mhm.
And so obviously it has to go to Steve, and then I was like, I'm gonna pick Ed as the chair to review it, and I was like, and I know his stance on this. Who has an opposite stance, and that's clear that at that time it seemed like Lisa was very in between on the issue. Jen and Whitney had come out strongly for it, and Jen is the clerk technically for the board. So it made sense in my mind to send it
Going down the hierarchy.
exactly to those two to review. And it did have some opinion pieces in there. The rhetoric was a little strong. Like the Office of Campaign Finance said, like, this is like a blip on the radar. And like when we being Steve and I reviewing materials of like, what to put together for Prop 2.5, like we were reading stuff coming out from other towns as Campaign Finance alluded to that were like, we can't say that. Like, wow, I can't believe they got away with stuff like that. So yes, it was absolutely opinionated in a for position. Because, it's tough when you're managing something and you live there, because you can have a professional opinion and a personal opinion.
Sure.
And I'm not saying which either Steve's are, but you can have your personal opinion and professional opinion not be the same.
Of course, sure.
So.
All right, second question is more substantive, and that is, what is the role of the communications committee in something like this? Should text come before us for our opinion? Do we have an opportunity to edit? Do we have an opportunity to vote on it? Do we have any role at all?
I think going forward, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think going forward, at some point, the select board is going to ask the communications committee to help draft guidelines in which communications need to be written within.
Say that again, you mean written for the select board or?
Yeah, so like the position's new, so there's nothing in our bylaws.
Right.
That say like communications coming from these offices need to fit in these parameters.
Good.
Yeah, and I think that's as far as we go. There's no point in which we're reviewing text for another department or something like that, ensuring that it goes out and it's timely. I don't mind providing my advice on things. Like I said, Steve came to me and said, we're thinking about taking this down. What's your gut check? I said, put your name on it and keep it up there, right? Which is what the legal advice came back with. But, and that's only as I would go to counsel first as well, too. But I'm always here to answer those kinds of questions. But I don't think we're ever going to get to a level where it's like, oh, this needs to go out, send it to the communication committee, have them review it so that we approve it. I think and I would not want to do that as volunteers in the town. I mean, there are many people who are paid in this town to do their job and to provide those services that should do that well before us.
I mean, that's why Kate got hired, to do that sort of stuff,
Right.
You can't do communications by committee. You just can't,
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean, I think the committees can certainly review things for the town and give opinions.
On
So-
maybe big ticket
And that's
items.
that's why I started this. I said, well, is there a role for this committee and could it provide opinion?
So I would question time on that.
Yeah.
In other words,
That's the other issue.
what's the timeliness of us being able to do that and get the information out?
Yeah.
We would have to call a special meeting probably to review,
Maybe.
yeah.
So I will backtrack a bit. Like if it is a larger document or something else that they want us to double check and take our opinion on, like if it is somebody else would write the social media policy and send it to us, we would absolutely review it in a committee stance, bring it up in a meeting, and we discuss it. It would take us until our next meeting and stuff like that to do it. But I think those kinds of things, but like we're talking something that was like it was just like an update that we wanted to get out or Steve wanted to get out to town as soon as possible. So I don't know, again, that like timing comes to it. And it doesn't seem like a collaborative thing. At least in this case, it wasn't a collaborative piece. It was like, this is the opinion coming out of Steve's office.
Yeah, I wasn't speaking about the opinion so much as looking at the writing, looking at the wording. Does it communicate clearly? Things like that. I've used committees like that
Gotcha.
to do exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would use that, like Chris was saying, judiciously on big ticket items.
Oh, sure.
Not
Like the town warrant would be a great one for
maybe
if we had
something.
time and we were getting into things like that, especially if we start getting into the yes and no sides to make sure that they have
Right.
readability and everything
Yeah.
else to them too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
just for the record, the infographic piece of this, I just want to say, I thought it was very helpful, and I think there are plenty of people who saw it and just don't comment.
I'm looking at it right now. I think it's great, you know?
Yeah, I think it was a great way to show information.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And other people have said that they look great on social media, and even Whitney from the select board said that not only did she really like them, but she stated that people learn in different ways, right? There are people going to learn from looking at just sets of data. There are people that are going to learn from reading articles, and there are some people who are going to learn from those infographics. So I absolutely think they're very important, and you did an excellent job.
Thank you. And I think it's fair to mention too, that at one point in the last 2 weeks, the ability to make infographics for the Prop 2.5 also came into question. And that there was a concerted effort at one point to stop them from being made.
Why infographics specifically?
I think because, and I can't speak for other people, but the way that I read the language and the way that I felt it came at me was that infographics made it seem like it was an approval of something and not necessarily a tool for learning.
I wonder if we got like really specific, where there were arrows that were like would affect teachers as said by in this meeting this person.
Right.
Well, that's another thing too that was looked at in the weeks previously was, and we talked about it in previous meetings, was ability to quote people and which quotes are the right quotes to take. So we would definitely try to stay away from that. Lesson learned on that a month or two ago.
Very true.
But also the sharpness of the infographic is like not adding all that extra information, just making it very clear, very, very educational, I would think. But.
It's one, I think, huge lesson that came out of all of this is happening because we have a more engaged and informed electorate. And we have that because of the work that Kate and Esther are doing in getting that information out there.
Yeah.
In the past 5 months, more information has gone out to the public. It's unprecedented, and I know as much as it hurts taking these shots, at the same time, to me, it's an indicator of a good situation where people are becoming engaged and informed. And that's why we're getting all this happening. So to me, that's kind of the silver lining of all of this is that, we're learning bitter lessons as we go along, but we've made huge progress in the past 5 months because of the work of both you guys on all this stuff, getting information out to the public. So to me, I think that message has been lost, and kudos to both you guys for work you're doing to help the people of Belchertown.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay. Moving on.
How thick is your skin?
Future items pending.
Do you want to do
Placeholders.
my update now?
Let's do your update. Yeah, that's a good point.
And to the end, I do like having them at the end like this because it
I'll
helps.
move to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it just helps frame everything better. So, because if I started the conversation this way, it would have made a lot of sense. So, with all the stuff happening with Prop 2.5, I have pretty much nothing to update on. Last week was absolutely swallowed up in meetings and conversations and emails and searching for information through the Freedom of Information Act and just everything that is not my job, which is also why our social media posting have fallen down. I am way underwater on many, many things, because it also coincided with needing to finish up Rec Summer Bulletin, which is something that I had told them I would take from them so that we are creating the ADA compliant document to begin with, because I saw the materials that they were working with and how they were creating it. And I knew in the end it would take me twice as long to turn what they had into an ADA compliant document. So just between those two things, I am swamped. Ed has stepped in to help me with a couple things that I've sent over to him. Chris has stepped in to help with a couple things too. There are people mad at me for not getting things done fast enough. But I only am allowed to work 19 hours a week. And when you spend an entire week doing emails and meeting with people and rehashing things that you thought were taken care of, nothing else gets
Sounds
done.
like quick.
So I am hoping to start digging out next week. But I can't say how the email I sent Steve and hopefully the select board with the text I put up on the Prop 2.5 is going to go. And it could very well be that I'm just further in the hole come next week and I'm looking for more help from other people.
You know what's the thing about that too, and I don't want to sound like a jerk about this, but I'm glad to help you out, but also,
Don't give
Is
me
that-
the hard guys.
is that setting a precedent too that, you just gotta say no, and sorry guys, it sucks, but I can't, I'm one person, I can only do so much.
I have no bones about telling people that I work 19 hours a week.
Right.
I mean, because
Just put a countdown in your sign off,
Have a ticker.
right? Just have a ticker, like,
20 minutes left this week, that's it.
right, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing you asked me to do. I'm getting beaten up on that now, and Steve's out of town, so Steve can't. I need his approval on it and all that stuff. And so, I mean, like I said, I don't want you
Have
to
you
think I'm
beaten
being,
back up and been like, I'm a volunteer, don't beat me up?
I mean, it's sort of thing. I mean, please don't misinterpret this, I'm one of those people that likes to help you, but also I'm afraid you might also be setting a situation where people just don't, okay, yeah, send it to Kate and it got done, not knowing who did it, that sort of thing.
No, yeah, if
And
other
remember
people
the
are
credit.
stepping in, when I've asked for you guys to step in, I've told them like, I am at capacity, I cannot do this. And there are other people that I've told I am at capacity, you've already asked way too much from me. We need to dial this back and you're just gonna have to keep waiting.
Because I mean, that's going to demonstrate to me the value of your position, that you're having such huge demands on your time that you can't fulfill. And so in a year, when it comes up again,
I would personally like an infographic of all the things that you're demanding.
That'd
That would be great.
My kids hate when I laugh loud like that. I'm so self-conscious.
Hey, we're talking about reports that BCTV is doing and their successes they are having. It's something that you definitely, if you have the time, but it's worth reporting too. That listen, I'm triple booked, and these are the departments that are asking for the most stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'll download all of my emails and throw it into an AI and see what it tells me.
Yeah, who's bugging me the most?
Who needs the most help?
but to me, I mean, this is information that would justify you're going full-time or additional people, all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, and Steve and I are working on our communications in regards to what's happening and how long things are taking and stuff too. So it's a work in progress.
Okay.
And that's all I have to report, that I got nothing done in the last 2 weeks.
For the record, the task you gave me, flawless, and I found an error on their part. So they think
I saw that too.
just throwing that out there.
good job, good job.
Just
If anyone else wants to put their name in line to take thankless tasks, let me know.
No, but you read there is a precedent, but also we want to see this role succeed. I think that our committee was doing a lot of that heavy lifting before, not as nearly as much, but it was getting to the point where a lot of people were asking us to do things. So you're sort of our shield that we're holding up to the crowd. So
I'm everybody's shield these days.
But I will say I don't mind doing a few things here and there. It does, of course my wife is like, why are volunteers doing this work and not paid employees? But
yeah, and it goes back to we had the conversation, I don't know if it was last meeting or the meeting before, when I was like, I'm drowning and you guys are like, we'll be happy to help.
Yeah, and I think that still stands in my opinion. Is that,
It's-
that we're happy to
I
help.
mean, yeah, if you call me up and say, I really need this done, yeah, I will. But I've had a rethink since then, like I said, is this,
You got a particularly difficult one?
that's no,
Yeah.
that's not the issue. That's not the issue, I'm just afraid that it's maybe setting a bad precedent where,
So are Mark and I too old? What?
No, I can throw you guys stuff too. Like, honestly,
I was just gonna say that you're great at data. Technically, all of her emails are public record. She could send them to you, and you could make the infographic. It would lose help.
and then I'll let
You
you
can-
publish it.
Yeah.
Good job, Lou.
You're just too quiet. Don't see me.
But I mean, hey, to throw out an idea, like as our role in helping the communications and helping her role, we could do an analysis of everything that's come through and say like, hey, these are the departments that are like, clearly these departments need more help than they have and are asking too much of communication manager, or one of the other things that's coming out of this is that there has to be another Civic Plus training that we provide for the website. So it's something that we're looking into. Ed and I just need to figure out a day. If anybody else is interested to join, participate, help out in any way, we'll take it. But that's sort of like we can definitely take a look at her stuff and say, these are our recommendations for this role and how to support it as a town going forward.
and I think Esther too, their training is a great opportunity for BCTV if you can to record it, and we can put some training videos together. I know like a lot of communities put their how to use Civic Plus details on their websites for their employees to find easy. So maybe we are able to do it with a video thing and then transcribe them.
Yeah, I was thinking that as you said it.
Yeah. Oh, and Otter AI, they haven't figured out how to buy it yet.
I mean, and actually, to tell you the truth, we do have training material on our website. It's not much, but there is stuff there. And actually, there are some videos. I did some screen recording of how to do some very simple stuff, not very elaborate at all.
Joanne in HR is really good at using it. She's a proponent for doing a Google search for what you're trying to do, and Civic Plus giving you the video. She thinks that they have a ton of great material out there like that. And she's been able to do a lot of stuff on her own in that sense. And she can even like figure out like when she doesn't have the right permissions to do something she's trying to do. So
yeah, I really appreciate your take on it too, that she is very much like go to Google first, figure it out for myself kind of person. And
yes,
it'd be great to see more of that. But yeah, she's using the resources that are out there. We can provide those more to the town staff members who need it.
committee members.
I think that should be something that like somebody sends you, like, can you put this on the website? You send them the video of Ed doing it. Just say, here, watch this. Do it for yourself, Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yes.
So anyway, any other questions? Sorry, what's that?
I just said item 15.
Item 15, yes, we're moving on. Future items pending, placeholders. Anything that we need to discuss in this level?
I'm just putting that on there so stuff doesn't fall off our radar screen. Because we keep saying we're gonna defer this after 2.5 and all that sort of stuff. So I thought it'd just be good to put it on there and, as a parking lot.
Okay.
Is that okay to do that?
It's a good idea. We should do
Okay.
Yeah, the list could get really long.
It can. It can get very long.
I've been asked early on to try to keep our agendas to one page, so we'll see how this goes.
I
You're
actually-
still using a
I
reasonable
should-
size font though. You could really shrink
Well,
that
that's
up.
what I did.
I
I
know.
actually had to shrink the font to do that.
A lot of white space up at the top, yeah. Anyway, it is already 8:30, so let's keep moving. Additional items up for discussion. Any issues not anticipated by the chair? Don't believe so. I didn't hear anything this morning. Committee member announcements or informal topics? No, any other announcements by anybody, things that they're doing that they want to just get us in the know about?
We're doing the Viewfinder photo workshops tomorrow. And we're supposed to go outside at Lake Walls to do it. I don't think we will. 'Cause
Yeah,
of the pouring rain.
If you end up canceling that, can you?
Oh, we're gonna still do the classroom part.
Okay, so that's definitely still go, because I know like there was a lot of concerns from the cultural council, from Creative Economy, about things being canceled tomorrow because of the weather.
No, we're still go.
I will throw it back one more time to public comments. If anybody has anything to say from the public about any of the issues that we brought up tonight. Give it a 3, 2, 1.
So,
All right, next meeting time.
May,
We're looking at May.
How long are we on Fridays?
Well, we could bring it up for discussion again. Friday was the only time that everybody could easily make. And I hear you on that.
I would
Tone of your
definitely
voice.
I would love to move it.
So, is there, should we do another?
Sure. I
forget
feel
the name
too
of it.
also with,
When to meet?
yeah, when to meet or doodle poll or what have you, but I feel like, yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna be able to make a meeting May 9th.
Okay, I'll send her. All right, so let's assume May 9th.
it's gonna be a Thursday or a Friday,
No,
is that what we're saying?
no.
No, for now it's just going to be Friday. May 9th is when we're going to schedule our next one out, right? If everybody's cool with that, and then we're going to send around a when to meet scheduler thing, and we'll try to figure out a better day for it, or a better day for our regular meeting times, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if we get enough responses in right away, then I'll try to move it to a different time before then. And we can discuss meeting times as a group online, so I'll be sending around some emails about it. So
Right now, May 9th, 7 PM, LMH.
Yep.
Okay,
What does LMH mean?
Morris Memorial Hall.
Okay. And with that,
I move we adjourn.
can I get a second?
Okay.
All those in favor?
All right.
8:32.
It is 8:32. Thank you, Esther.
Good night, y'all.
Have a good
Night,
night.
Esther.